Hi guys, welcome to lesson 3, Friday, January 14th. Hopefully this will be our last online, fingers crossed, we'll see. Okay, so today let's remember to look at our calendar, our daily schedule. Wednesday we talked about the literacy narrative and we went over our readings. Today, Friday, January 14th, we will be talking about thesis statements, elements of narration, and descriptive writing. We also need to write in our notebook. I want to briefly go over invention, drafting, and organizing also. So let's get started. Remember that if you want to know when anything is due or what we will be doing, you can come to your calendar, our daily schedule. It is on Canvas in the first module, module 0. Here is the daily schedule. So you can always find that here if you want to know what we're going to be doing. Okay, let's talk briefly about the writer's notebook. Make sure that you put in your first entry. So for English 103, we're going to be working on MLA formatting for the whole semester. Make sure that you familiarize yourself with MLA formatting. You can do that on Purdue OWL. The link is in the syllabus. For MLA, they require Times New Roman, 12-point font. They require that you have double spacing, which this should be 0 point, and you should click on this. Don't add space between paragraphs or the same style. Okay? You will have your name. You will have the professor's name. You will have our course. And then the due date goes here, whatever the due date is of our journal. I don't know when it's due last. We could look it up. When is our last due date for our journal? It goes into our final digital portfolios. So it'll be due, depending on your class, either Friday the 6th, May 6th, or Wednesday, May 4th. So list your due date accordingly. You don't have to have a fancy title for this. It's your writing journal. Okay. Then I want you to put the date that you are writing. This is our first entry. Write about writing and reflection about writing. So I just kind of put a blah, blah, blah. I love to write, and today we start talking about narration and drafting. My process is da, 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 da. I don't have a length requirement, really. I'd like to see about a paragraph, about half a page. So make sure that your paragraph, double spaced, 12-point font, is about half the page. Other than that, I really don't have any specifications for you. If you have any questions, just holler at me. Okay, so we talked about that. And I just want to point out, as I'm going through this, you can see when everything is due and what we are going to be doing for the whole semester. You can see when we don't have class. We can see when we're going to have conferences. You can see when everything is going to be due. Draft a final digital portfolio. We can go up here. I had a student ask about when the literacy narrative is due. So we have a Friday, January 28th is when the rough draft is due. You will have to have 3 pages due then. And then the final draft of Essay 1, Literacy Narrative, is due on Canvas on Friday, February 4th. So we have plenty of time. We are in no hurry. I've tried to space everything out and give us plenty of time to work. Right now, I just want to get you guys thinking about the process of writing. We aren't really doing anything other than writing in our notebook and reading. So it should be fairly easy on you guys. Next week on Wednesday, we probably will start writing because we're going to practice formatting in Word and practice MLA formatting. So we will probably start writing our literacy narratives next Wednesday, okay? Until then, just relax and let's go through some of these and think about writing. So invention, drafting, and organizing is what we wanted to focus on for reading this week or for Friday. So we start with the writing process. This just basically goes over how to generate some ideas and figure out what you want to write about. As you know, the actual Say One Literacy Narrative assignment has some prompts for you to kind of get you thinking about what you can write about. You do not have to use these. These are just here to help you along if you're struggling about a topic or what to write about in your literacy narrative. You can write about whatever writing has influenced you or however you want. I just wanted to be helpful and give you guys some prompts to get you going. But you don't have to use them. You can do whatever you want. So you can basically start your writing process however it feels comfortable for you. For me, I usually will just take my words that I have going through my head and puke them onto a paper. That's how I write. That's how I start. It talks about discovering ideas, generating those ideas. You could ask who, what, where, when, why, and how. Some good questions to help you in the invention stage. What do I want to say? What do I know already? What is my topic? Who will be reading, receiving my work? Which will be me. Think about me as your audience. Who am I trying to reach with my ideas? How can I prove my point with evidence? Okay, so those are just some prompts to get you going. Brainstorming. There are lots of ways you can brainstorm. We will go through that in the next section. Free writing is another way. That's my favorite way. Like I said, I just literally puke words onto a page to get myself going. And there is no right or wrong way to do it. Just put them on there. Clustering and word association. I do this when I free write. It doesn't look like this. Because I'm just free writing and putting those words onto my pages. I'm just puking them on there. But as I write, it generates new ideas. I think about other things that I could write about as I'm writing. So that really helps me. Talking, you can talk with me. We can Zoom. You can talk with your peers, friends, family, whoever you feel comfortable. And then once you get those words puked onto a page or you cluster or you do your thing and you have some ideas, this goes into how to narrow your focus. And it gives an example of how you can do that. So let's say for the sake of ease, I've just finished my pre-writing phase and my professor asked me to begin thinking about a problem that I see on campus that I can solve. So they use vending machines or food on campus. So they talk about unhealthy vending machine options. Sorry guys, that's my bear out there barking. Cooper, it's okay. Unhealthy vending machine options, lack of variety in the dining hall, expensive unhealthy food, on and on and on. Now you can look at that list of ideas that you've organized and you notice a few patterns. So then you can ask yourself, what do I want to say? We need healthier, cheaper, quicker food options on campus. Who is this for? And on and on. Hopefully you guys have already read this and I don't have to read it to you. If you haven't, please go back and read it. It's really useful information that's going to help you develop your writing. And I know a lot of you talked about those goals in your introduction. So this is how we're going to do that, guys. Reading this information. Reading is key. Okay, so organization. We talked a little bit about this on Wednesday, having that chronological order, making sure that you have a good flow in your writing so that the reader, me, can understand your thought process and how these events took place in your life. So that's really important. I love the ideas that this offers. Ballpoint offers some really excellent ideas of how you can make sure that it's organized well and that it makes sense. And we'll talk about those when we get there. So while there are no hard and fast rules for determining the most effective organization of your paper, there are some central questions to consider. So what are the elements of your rhetorical situation? Consider how your ideas might be arranged to best meet the needs of that situation. Does one part follow another? And can you explain why you put them in that order? I think that's important. Can you explain why you put them in that order? How will the order affect your audience? Me. So think about that. The audience brings an array of beliefs, values, and knowledge and experiences that they draw on as readers to construct meaning. So as I'm reading your paper and I'm reading about you in 5th grade in your English class, I'm thinking about my experience. So my experience influences how I feel about your experience, if that makes sense. So, does the organization of your text allow you to connect with your audience and encourage them towards persuasion? So, am I thinking, oh yeah, I remember being in that situation. I remember how they felt. That's that persuasion. How does the form of and images within your text affect the organization? Does the organization fit the context? How, when, and where will this composition be presented? Are there organizational choices that should reflect that content? And then it starts talking about topic sentences and transitions and headings. We won't be doing headings in the literacy narrative, but we will later on in the rhetorical analysis and the research paper. So just getting you thinking about that. Topic sentences. As you know, topic sentences are that first sentence in a paragraph that tells me what the paragraph's going to be about. And then the sentences that come after that topic sentence support that topic sentence. So if your paragraph starts out talking about how you were taught how to write in the 5th grade, that whole paragraph should be about that topic. It shouldn't end with you talking about how in 10th grade you learned how to transition your paragraphs. Okay, that wouldn't be good. You want to stick with your topic sentence and give me supporting sentences that support that topic sentence. So make sure that you're doing that. Transitions are a key part of a topic sentence. These words show how one paragraph or idea is connected to the one that comes before. So that's that organization, right? So you're going to show me how the paragraph you just wrote transitions into the next phase or the next sequence in your writing process or your writing experience by using transitions into the next paragraph. And that gives you some ideas and how to do that. So make sure that you're reading that. I'm not going to focus too much on the headings. Please read that though and get thinking about it. So these are the exercises for organization that I really like. I think these are really good. So I hope you guys read through this. Print out your project. Get a pair of scissors and cut it up so that each paragraph is separate. Then scatter the paragraphs and ask a peer to put them in order and the way that they think it fits. If your peers struggle with this, then you know it's not right and you need to reorganize your paper. I think that is so good. That is a good way to tell. You can also read your project as if you were using it as a source rather than as something you wrote. So you could also ask a peer to do this instead. Highlight or annotate the paper by noting the key topics in the margins. Next, open a new document and put all the text with the same color of highlighter or the same key topic together. Or you could do a reverse outline of the paper you have already written. So those are some great ways to tell if your paper is organized or not. Then we're going to go into drafting. So I kind of told you a little bit about how I draft. I just get those words on there and then I'll go back and revise. And that really helps me generate new ideas and helps me refine my paper. Writing is all about revising. You revise so many times. You're going to be so sick of revising. But if you want to be a good writer, like all of you claimed as your goal in the introductory, revising. That's probably, I would say, probably 50% of writing is revising. So you need to do the pre-writing activities, brainstorming, doodling, annotations, free writing, note taking, and start to connect them in a logical manner through composing. Once you get those rough drafts, you get to experiment with ideas. Often writers don't really think that they think about a topic until they start writing about it. But that's not true. You do start thinking. You guys are already thinking about your literacy narrative and what you're going to say. So what is a draft? Free write, introduction paragraphs in class today. I'm actually pretty happy about what I wrote. Like I said, we will start doing that. Probably next Wednesday, we're going to start on our papers and we're going to start writing, getting our formatting down, and we will probably do that in class, and then maybe writing our introduction paragraphs at least. So don't freak out about writing. We have a process. Trust the process. We're going to go slow and we're going to do little bits. And if you stay on top of those little bits, then you will construct your paper throughout the process, and you won't have to struggle so hard to do it. You're not going to have to sit down and write a 3-4 page paper in one sitting. So we will be doing outlines. We're not going to do that for the literacy narrative since it's a pretty easy topic and easier to do. But we will be doing it later on for, I think the research paper calls for an outline. I'm not sure if the analysis does or not, but this talks about, I've got a few solid ideas for what body paragraphs I want to write. I'm sure you guys are thinking about those ideas too, especially from the prompts. Okay, so what does research look like at this phase? We don't need to concentrate too much on this today because we're not doing any research, but we will be. So I wanted you to read this, get this in your head, get thinking about it, because it is going to be coming up, okay? All right, so hopefully you guys have read this. You are on top of your reading. We've talked about the literacy narrative. We talked about that. Let's see, what else do we need to talk about? Okay, so we're going to talk about thesis statements, elements of narration, and descriptive writing. So let's talk about a thesis statement. So this is Purdue OWL. For those of you that don't know, I just went to Purdue OWL, put in thesis statements, and this popped up. So it gives you tips and examples for writing thesis statements. So determine what kind of writing you are doing. Well, we know we're going to be doing a narrative, which it says if you are writing a text that does not fall under these 3 categories, argumentative, expository, or analytical, a narrative, a thesis statement somewhere in the first paragraph could still be helpful to your reader. So yes, definitely, I want a thesis statement of some kind. Give me an overview of what you're going to be telling me about. Your writing experience, how it, like a thesis statement that you could give me would be something along the lines of, I love writing because my teacher in the 3rd grade really pushed me to be a good writer, and ever since then I have loved writing. Something like that. That's a horrible thesis statement, but just spitting it out there. So then I know that your paper is going to be mostly about your 3rd grade teacher and how she helped you to become a good writer and why you love it, right? So I want some kind of idea about that. If I had to say that, because we're writing a narrative, to put it in one of these categories, I would have to say it would go under the analytical. Because you're giving me an issue or an idea, and then you're going to tell me about the components and the parts. You're going to evaluate the issue or idea of how you love or hate writing and why, and present this breakdown and evaluation to me, your audience. So I'd say it's kind of like this. So if you need help, I would follow this. So you can kind of go down and your thesis statement should be specific. It should cover only what you will discuss in your paper and should be supported with specific evidence. So I think that's basically your analytical view. It'll go down. Oh, example of political thesis statement. Okay, so all of these are important. And then it goes down to talk about the thesis statement examples. Sorry for the confusion. So an example of an analytical thesis statement. And then it tells you the examples. So that could help you build your thesis statement. Another thing too, if you need help, reach out to me, reach out to the Writing Center. The Writing Center will help you so much this semester. So make sure that you reach out to them if you need any help. And you will have feedback from me, and a chance to polish up your paper. Okay, so then let's go back to our Canvas. And we're going to talk about elements of narration and descriptive writing. Okay. Elements of narration. So this just tells it has a story, and then it's going to tell you these features. Elements of narration are telling a story. You want to tell what happened, who it happened to. You want to have a dialogue, direct speech of the people, where it happened, the setting, a sequence of events, the plot, and a turning point, the climax. So the purpose of your personal story in Essay 1 is to provide an example which supports your overall points or thesis. So basically, you're going to give me a thesis and then support all those points throughout your writing. Each paragraph should support your thesis statement. Description will play a key role in how well your story communicates your point. So consider the following short story and identify the above elements. So please take the time to read Bruce and the Spider by James Baldwin, and then go through and make sure that you see what happened, who it happened to, the dialogue, where it happened, the setting, the plot, the sequence of events, and the turning point, the climax. It's a very short read. It's not long at all. So it won't take you maybe 3 minutes to read it, if that. And just make sure that you see how the sequence went and how the narration is. The what, the who, the dialogue, where, plot, climax. Okay? So that's kind of how I want you to lay out your story when you tell me. Okay? You can see this. If I had to pick out the thesis statement, the King of England was at war with him and had led a great army into Scotland to drive him out of the land. Okay, so then you know that the rest of the story is going to be about the King of England who was in a great war and led a great army, right? So see if you notice how well the story sticks to that and what the story has to tell about that. Okay. The next thing is going to be about descriptive writing. So this is just another very short article. It's not long at all. This is it. Okay. It gives examples. I think it is very important for you to read it. Writing is an account of how people think. As a medium, it's intrinsically empathic. I can't talk. So make sure that you read through this. You want to make sure that you are going to appeal to the senses, not just one of what you can see. You want to talk about all of them. You want to be specific. These give examples. I love this one. Example, bad. So this is a bad example. It is hot. Yeah, we know what hot means and we can picture it. But when you read the better, the heat is oppressive, sweltering, and exhausting. It sticks to the skin and makes ovens out of parking lots. So that really plays to your senses. You start thinking about being in a parking lot, right? And you're feeling like you're in the oven. You can feel the heat on your skin, just burning it, and what the sun feels like when it's on it, making you feel like you're in an oven, and that it's sweltering, and you can feel the sweat on your arms and your brow, and how exhausting that makes you feel. and how oppressive. You just want to sit there. You don't want to move. That is what I'm talking about when I talk about the thick description, right? And how writing powerful descriptions. That's powerful. That really makes you think, right? Okay, and then it's going to talk about limit modifiers. So it's going to give you ideas on how to be very specific in your writing, how to use that figurative language, make sure that you're not just blabbing. So get to the point, don't blab on and on. So please read through this. This is extremely important, and it's a stepping stone into making you a better writer. And keep this in mind when you start writing. This is going to help you focus on your audience and really bring your reader into your story and make your reading and writing better. So please read through this and focus on the examples. I think there's nothing better than an example. Okay, so I think that's it. Yep. I think we covered everything. Remember that on Monday, January 17th, there is no class. It is Martin Luther King Day, so enjoy a day off. You have nothing to do other than write in your notebook and read. You have nothing to do in this class. On Wednesday, January 19th, when we come back into the classroom, we will be focusing on formatting in Word and practicing that MLA formatting. Please make sure that you read ahead of class, editing and formatting and editing. They're not real long. Be prepared to work on that formatting and editing because we're going to practice writing our literacy narrative. We're going to get started on that, okay? I think that's it, guys. You're free to go. Have a good weekend. Thank you. And as always, if you need anything or have any questions, feel free to reach out by email. I'm available for Zoom at any time. Thanks, guys.